Okay, so I'm making a quick response video to, I think there's a couple comments left on some of my recent videos. So number one, no, I'm not looking forward to or trying to or interested in getting involved with the PMO industry. I think, I think that's obvious by now. I'm gonna take that as a joke. I know I'm not necessarily always mostly not in a humorous mood, but knowing Alex, I know he's probably making a joke about that. It's like the whole me going on about, oh, they're making easy money. Why don't I get in on that? But no, not doing that. Um, I was just really just commenting on something I've seen in the Nofap community and something that I know Rolo Tomasi and a number of others have pointed out with sort of this idealization, turn on the light, but sort of idealization that a lot of no-fappers seem to have about the folks involved with the air quotes industry. I mean, I hate calling it that. I really can't like sort of believe that that we are kind of at that point where where it is an industry. But I mean, if you expand the definition of certain other terms to kind of encompass that, then yeah, and I'm trying to keep it PG-13, so to speak, or PG rated in this video, but just in my channel in general. But um, I mean, it is what it is, and the truth is that, as far as I've seen, and some others have seen, we have this sort of this tendency towards idealization, and it could be, I mean, if you want to conflate it with masculinity or gender issues or biology or whatever the case may be, psychology, but there's this sort of predisposition or predilection for idealization and wanting to view the actors and actresses who are involved in this field of endeavor, monetary endeavor, whatever. It's rhymed there, but anyways, people who are involved with that, um, that they're lost souls, that they're there against their own will. They must have been dragged in chains into that. And the cold hard truth is that no, it's not the case for most of them, which I guess you could say it's also kind of what makes it even more slimy and grimy and just kind of disgusting that folks would do that sort of stuff for money, for fame, for attention, for an excuse to engage in physically intimate relations with random people. And to me, I don't care how many dollars somebody might throw me, offer me for to do something like that. I'm not going to do that. But that's me, and that's so much of why personally I'm on the nofap journey. Like I said, I don't feel it's a moral crusade, but at the same time, like, um, it's not moral when I say that I'm not for that. It's more like it doesn't feed into sort of my will to power. That if I were to sort of take that path of, okay, being willing to do something like that for money, then it'd probably be because I was at a really low, weak, you know, point in life that I was so low that I had to do that for money. And I don't even want to think about that. So, moving on from that, the other one having to do with the relationship I was in. It's not something I really like to talk about. I don't want to dwell on the past. I want to move on from it because there's a lot of bad memories and trauma there. And I know I made a lot of videos about it. There were times when I really made the whole nofap journey, just life journey in general, really, really difficult. But yeah, in retrospect, it was an abusive relationship. I didn't really realize at the time. And a lot of it was because I had some really faulty beliefs about how relationships are supposed to work. That if you're the guy, you're supposed to sacrifice. You're supposed to take mistreatment all the time. Oh, that's just how relationships are supposed to be. That's how women are supposed to be. they're supposed to treat you like dirt, and you're just supposed to take it and take it like a man, and that sort of stuff. And some of it honestly has to do with my like upbringing, but some of it just had to do with my own sort of choice of idealization, and my choice to really believe in that and try to stick with that. And I mean, I don't really want to go over the chain of events, but essentially, I think the point at which I realized it was abusive was when I was watching this video with Rollo Tomasi, and he was talking about his BPD ex-girlfriend from decades ago, and when he realized that there was something just wrong with the relationship, and it wasn't him, that it was in her, in her court, so to speak. And just some of the tales he told, and I was just like, man, is this guy talking about my life, my ex-girlfriend, or my? I think I was still with her at that point, but is he talking about her? Like, he can't be talking about her. It just sounds like her behavior. Um, like when I talked about, my start sort of this, concise or consistent or codified or like dedicated Nofap journey. Um, One of the things that she had done, which really messed me up mentally for quite a while, was after I'd actually finally met her person to person, face to face, and I'd come back to the to home, so to speak. Um, apparently, apparently her sisters found out about us, and they threatened to like tell her mom, and she freaked out. And in that culture, it's very much this sort of case of like you don't tell your parents who you're in a relationship with until or unless it's the kind of guy or girl you're going to be presumably getting married to. And so she pulled this sort of what I called magical disappearing act, where she essentially deactivated or deleted her Facebook and just disappeared for like a month and a half. And I freaked out. I didn't know if she'd been in a car accident, if she died, if her family had killed her, or what, something bad had really happened. Something really bad had happened, and I didn't know where she went and what happened. And then, a month and a half later, she shows back up and wants to act like nothing happened. In the meantime, I had had exams that I had flunked. I'd been in this like gutter of just really like messed up, mental, emotional states. Like, oh my God, did my girlfriend, at that point we had been together for about 2 years. Did my girlfriend 2 years, is she dead? Like, what happened? And I had to ferret answers out of her as to what had happened. And it just turned out that it was basically a case of, worst case scenario for her. She could just, practice plausible deniability and not have any connection with me on social media, which was the only way we were in contact. She could deny that I even existed in case her parents were like, put the kibosh down on her. She could just deny that I even existed. And she didn't, she had done stuff like that in the past before that, but again, I had been of the mindset that, oh, I just got to take it like a man and deal with that. And this is just part of what it is. And oh, my going through all this pain and suffering, it's a sign of how much I love her and how much she means to me. And oh, it'll pay off in the end. And then because I failed those classes in large part due to a couple of factors. Half of it was on me not being prepared, all of that, but the other half was because of extraneous factors, which, like I said, again, I felt like I had to go through that sort of stuff. And eventually I finally came to understand that no, I gotta do what's good, do what's best for me. And if that means cutting certain people out of my life because they're just disrupting things too much, and I gotta be doing things such that I have my energy and time and effort is focused on what's gonna get me ahead. um that's when I started sort of pulling away from her. And because I failed those two classes, I got held back by a year, and then trying to explain to her what had happened and how her behavior at the very least did not help. And in reality, it significantly contributed to things turning that way, because turning out that way, because obviously massive disruption in my life. And even as much as I had tried to study, it's extremely hard to be doing that when you're thinking that maybe your girlfriend's dead now, and you don't know what happened to her, on top of having to try and absorbable as upper division chemical engineering, material. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be kind of a long video, but it's like just past the 10-minute mark. But needless to say, she didn't understand, and there's this like complete lack of taking your responsibility, shifting blame back onto me, kind of basically treating me like, how dare you ruin my life plan? You were supposed to just put up with that and deal with that. That's what relationships are all about. And it's your job to help me control my emotions, and it's not my fault, not my problem. And oh, if you had just studied harder and da 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 da, all this sort of stuff. It was all my fault in her eyes, and there was nothing that was at all on her shoulders. And I had my first breakup with her, and then I was, I started kind of getting sort of towards the girl, turned out to be the one-eyedest girl, as I call her. And eventually, about a year later from that point, because we're talking going from fall 2016 to spring 2017. About a year and a half later was when I finally, put an end to the relationship. It was like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this. And the rest, as they say, is history. And now I'm at this point. So I really hope I don't got to rehash all that. Because, like I said, like one of my main concerns or fears is living in the past, getting defined by getting dragged down and tied down by it. And it's like, okay, I learned my lessons, So much of it really is taking charge of your own life and not letting those kinds of people in, because you know that once you let them in, it's kind of letting like a vampire into your life. And at that point, like you made the decision, and here's the results, and here's the consequences. And until or unless you learn to take charge of your boundaries, establish them, enforce them, and not let that in, like you're going to see all these problems come again and again and again into your life. And it's just going to be a complete other waste. So it's like, and sometimes it is about taking responsibility yourself, responsibility over your own sanity, over your own mental health, over your own direction in life, your boundaries, and being willing to actually make those tough decisions, as opposed to just going with the flow, so to speak, and letting people just get away with all sorts of stuff because, oh, otherwise you're a bad man or something like that, or a bad woman or a bad person because you didn't decide to stand up for yourself, or because because you decide to stand up for yourself and not tolerate that kind of behavior. Yeah, I hope I don't have to go over that again. I know maybe in the future people will ask questions, but maybe I'll just refer them to this video. But anyways, 13 minutes. I hope I've responded clearly enough, and just I really want to put that to rest. Yeah, it was a really bad episode in my life, and I feel I've learned my lessons, and I'm moving on. And heck, I gotta go running. I got my running outfit on. So anyways, I'll see you folks around, and I hope I made myself clear with explaining what all that was about. That's it. So thanks, and I'll see you folks later. Bye-bye.